Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I hope you all voted today because I haven't. I don't care. But we've got 6 albums to go through for this one because this is obviously more important than the electoral voting. So I'm going to go through them as quick as I can. We begin with Accept and their newest album, Humanoid. From what I know, Accept is a band from Germany, I think. They've been around for quite a while, and I do like me a good bit of German metal. This is very more in the traditional heavy metal sense. Sorry, I had a bit of hair on my laptop keyboard there. I'm giving it a B. I thought this was very good, straightforward riff work, and spoiler alert, that's gonna be sort of a theme for a lot of the albums in this video. Not all of them, but for quite a lot. Really strong riff work, really good heavy metal leaning riffs. I like the pacing for the most part. I do feel like it doesn't go to a lot of interesting places, but it stays mostly consistent. The band put in some really good work too. Production's mostly pretty good as well. I think my main issue might be the lyrics because it feels like there's empty platitudes, and the thing is, I feel like they could have gone a more interesting route with it because the album cover features a sort of robotic looking thing. I mean, you've probably seen the album cover already, over a bunch of humans who look sort of despondent, and I had a feeling, oh, maybe they're going to do an album about like technology and AI taking over humanity, and that would have been good, especially because the album is called Humanoid. But no, it just feels like weirdly empty platitudes, and also some of the lyrics are a little bit dumb sometimes, and which is weird because a lot of the rest of the album is mostly taking a smart approach. I do like the riffs, again, really strong riffs, and mostly good, and everything else. Weird lyrics as well, which I've just gone over literally. But all in all, I do think it gets a lot of its factors just right enough for me, and it sticks to its strengths quite well. Next, we have ACXDC with their new album GOAT. Now, ACXDC are not to be confused with the band of the same of a similar name, which is AC/DC. This is a power violence / grindcore noise band. Not from Australia, to my knowledge. I think they're American. I'm not fully sure. I'm giving this one a B+. I think my main thing about it is the fact that a lot of the songs are way too short, and I couldn't find anything for lyrics, which is weird because, like, I'm pretty sure I would have liked what was being growled at my face. I think there might have been some really good political leans with the lyrics. I'm not really fully sure. The Bandcamp page doesn't really have anything for that. But I did quite like the pacing, even though a lot of the songs are fucking short. It's 17 songs long and just over 23 minutes. I mean, come on. But even with that, the pacing does not relent at all, and it's got a really good flow for what it is, which I found quite surprising. I did like the performance as well, especially the lead vocalist. He is giving his fucking all on this album. Drummer as well. Like, how that person hasn't broken their legs, I don't know. But, like, the double bass work on this thing is insane. Really good pace. Mostly good production as well. I actually liked how fleshed out the production was on this album for the most part. And, yeah, no, good from pretty much every standpoint. Not super great, but, like, one of the stronger B pluses I've given this year, I would say. Still got really has really good highlights for me, and I was surprised by how much I wound up going back to it. I haven't gone back to it a lot, I'll grant you that, but I did like it more than I thought I would. Next, we have Alien Ant Farm and their new album, Mantras, because every album of theirs has to work in the word ant into the title, so Mantras. Giving this the highest grade of the episode, though, which is an A-, right? And I would say that this is probably the album I listened back to the most of the past weekend because I wasn't fully sure how to feel about it. I will say this though, for someone who's mostly just familiar with Alien Ant Farm from like their cover of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal, I almost said Bad Criminal, and also the song Movies, which I listened back to a couple of weeks ago actually. Still a really good song, I like it. I didn't know how serious this band could get, and this album does have some really serious themes, as themes of like illness, health, divorce, fatherhood. Yeah, no, really good stuff in that front. And considering this is the band's first album in 9 years as well, there's probably a little bit about COVID in there, but it's not made super obvious. I will say the lyrics, even though they focused well on other themes, they're a bit repetitive in terms of their writing. I do feel like some of the phrases could have done with a bit of toning down, maybe, and but besides that, I like pretty much everything about the album. I thought the instrumentation was really good, very interesting. I like their sort of alt-rocky, sort of grungy style, mixed with a good sort of punk tinge here and there. I liked how how mostly mid-tempo it was, I feel like that could have been a detriment in some places, but it does actually try and experiment here and there with the sound. Not to a huge degree, but it does, again, it does enough to keep things interesting. The performance is really good, and I'm going to say this, I think Dryden Mitchell is a massively underrated vocalist. Like, he's got a really good vibrato and a really good diction to how he just sings really well, and I've always just sort of liked it. He's always put a lot of like character and personality into how he sings. There's always been a lot of colour to it, even when, even from the songs that people know better, where they're not taking themselves as seriously. But like, even on this album, especially on this album where it's a bit more serious, he's belting it out. He's really good at fucking singing. Mostly good pacing as I've gone through. Production's really nice as well, quite clean. Liked it. Good themes, really good performances, really good riffs. Yeah, no, mostly really good stuff. I do feel like it does have a couple of stumbles here and there, but it does well enough even in its worst areas, and I would still recommend you give it a spin. Next is Classified with his new album Luke's View. Now, this is a reference to the fact that Classified is a Canadian rapper named Luke Boyd, so it's his view. I'm giving this one a B+. I thought this was pretty solid rap. I liked a lot of it. I like these lyrical themes about some political stuff and anxiety. My favourite song on this album is titled Make It Make Sense, which is about sort of the hypocrisy and double standards that we experience in modern day political climate, and I really like the tone that he takes with that song. I think his performance is really good. He's got a really good flow, and I've heard about Classified before. I've never listened to him though, and it feels weird to do, but then again, I haven't always been this much of a rap fan, I guess. Backtracking really changed a lot of things for me, I'll say that much. I did like quite a lot of this though. Really good production as well, very clean. I will admit the pacing, it does feel like a lot of the songs are out of order, and I feel like some of the beats are a tiny bit repetitive as well, but it's not to a really bad degree. It's just kept basic in terms of like its hip-hoppedness. It doesn't really vary the pacing a whole lot with what it does, but it keeps consistent and it's really good. Really good flow of songs. Like Classified's performance as well is really nice. He's got like good use of multis here and there, and even when he doesn't use multis, he's got really good punctuation on the last syllable, which is really good too. Yeah, just good shit all in all. Could have done with a bit of ramping up in some areas and a bit of a weird tone at times, but mostly I liked it. Next we have Darkthrone and their new album, It Beckons Us All. This is the first time I've heard a Darkthrone album. I've heard about them before, as, again, I think you should probably just be used to me saying in any backtracking episode these days, to be honest. Giving it a B. I thought this was a good bit of black metal mixed with some nice doom riffs. In fact, I think the riffs, especially on the guitar, are the best thing about the album. I think it's only two band members as well. I think like one of them does vocals. I think they both do vocals, but one of them is like a main lead singer, the other one does drums, and they both also do like the guitar and keyboards and bass and programming and all that stuff. And it can't be easy to do all of that with just two of them, especially considering how massive their output is. Like, they put out shit really quickly. The riffs are pretty strong, and I have to give the band a lot of points for their dedication to just doing everything and doing everything really well. I do think the pacing suffers though, because there is a lot of filler material, and also a lot of the production is weirdly choppy. There's some elements of the production which feel really off to me, and I think it's the band that does the production as well, so they don't really have an excuse for it, especially considering how long they've been around, And, like, of all the albums on here, I would say, or at least of all the bands on here, I think this might be the shortest layoff, because Darkthrone's last album before this came out in 2022, so they haven't had as much time to... Yeah, maybe that works against them, I don't know. But I still liked enough of it. I do think the lyrics could have told a more interesting story, though. I feel like they were gonna lean in that direction, but just sort of abandoned it. And it feels a bit weird and esoteric in terms of its delivery. But again, the strong factors of this album are really strong. Good riffs, good performances. For the most part, good writing. I just wish it would take it that step further. Same with the pacing. And I wish they could have mended some of the sound editing as well. But that's just me. I still liked enough of this album to recommend it. And finally, we have Deicide with their new album, Banished by Sin. Again, band I'd heard about before, never listened to an album fully. until this one. I'm giving this one a B+. Really did like most of it, to be honest. I thought this had some... I will say of the 3 metal leading albums I'm covering, this one has the best instrumentation. I mean, oh my god, the guitar solos on this thing are gorgeous. There is some fantastic guitar work here. It can feel like a little bit much at times, I won't lie, but the guitar solo work when it's leading is... It's leading strong, how about that? It leads really fucking strong. The lyrics are a little bit weird as well. I think there's like some occult and Satanist themes, but it also just feels like the lead singer just wanted a chance to call you a pussy for like about 40 minutes. I don't know. It felt a bit weird, and like the lead singer, his name's Glenn Benton. Like he's known for having a brand of like an upside down cross on his forehead, for the most part, which is like yeah, it's fair. You do you, mate. But really, really good riffs. I think Glenn's performance is really good on the vocals. I do think he phones in a little bit though, and it's almost entirely screaming. There's not really any clean parts. There's not much room for melody on the vocals, which is weird because like there's a lot of melody on the guitar, and even on the drums when it's not doing its constant blast beats part, it does have really, really good smoother riff work on the drums too. I do think the pacing is really good. Again, could have occasionally veered into different territory. Production I don't really have a lot of complaints with though. Really nicely handled, very organic feeling, and really well fleshed out too. Yeah, for the most part, this again just worked for me. It's just a really solid bit of death metal from a band that's been doing it for a long time too. Yeah, really, again, like this more than I thought it would, and even though this was my first Deicide album, I could say this about any album I listened to in this video, I could have picked a way worse point to jump on for Deicide, so really glad I started with this one. And that'll about do it from me. I will do the ranking system now, because as we know, everyone cares about that, so I'd have to go with Darkthrone with It Beckons Us All at the bottom, except with Humanoids after that. Then probably Classified with Luke's View, Darkthrone with... Deicide with Banished by Sin, ACXDC with Goat, and Alien Ant Farm with Mantras, but as always, go and listen to all of these once yourself, because that's what makes the shit that we do interesting. Favourite album cover goes to Deicide's Banished by Sin. I just think it looks fucking badass. Like, it just looks like a really cool image, very satanic and sort of cool and edgy. You know, very emblematic of, like, a time past, but still works well for me. I like the edgy shit. Why do you think I listen to what I listen to? Favourite song probably goes to Make It Make Sense by, from Luke's View by Classified, although I did like that one song on Alien Ant Farm's album. I think it was called Storms Over? It was Storms something, again, textual corrected, but mostly like the song I remember the most from the past weekend is Make It Make Sense by Classified. So, as always, go and check all the shit out yourself when you have the time. That'll about do it for me though. Next thing you'll see me for will be tomorrow for a reaction, because I didn't do one, and then also tomorrow for the Go Home show for PPW vs AVW for Locked and Loaded, which is going to be next Friday. And also, if anyone who's watching this is part of my Fed or has 2K24 and hasn't notified me, feel free, and I'll see if I can jot your wrestler down for me show. And I'll see you tomorrow for the things and the stuff. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.